call this regular meeting of the Village of Villa Park Planning and Zoning Commission to order. I'll start with roll call. Calvert.
Here.
Hofstra. Jackson.
Here.
Case. Ludke.
Here.
Orlowski.
Here.
Romano.
Here.
Polinsky.
Here.
And to the president, we have quorum. First item of business would be approval of minutes from 10/13/2022. Are there any questions or amendments to the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'd like to make that motion.
A motion here from Lucky, second.
I'll second that.
Second from Calvert. All in favor?
Aye. Abstain. I wasn't here.
We have one abstention from Commissioner Orlowski. The minutes are approved. Okay, so the item of business we have today is petition PZ 220013, amendment to a special use for plan unit development to allow an electronic message display panel sign 251 West Jackson Street, pen 0616212002, owner School District 45, petitioner Wold Architects and Engineers. So the way this hearing will work this evening is it will start with staff input. They'll put on their presentation, and then if the petitioner has a presentation of their own or any comments they would like to make following the staff presentation, that would be the time to do that. Then we'll take any public participation or questions from anyone in the public. If you would come up to the up to the podium and give your name and address, and you get about 3 minutes. Questions from the commission, any closing comments from the petitioner if you have anything to finish up with, then we'll move into discussion up here and a motion if appropriate this evening. Anyone who expects to speak, even if you think you might speak, stand. We'll get everybody sworn in at once. And so if you're going to speak, stand now, please. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give this evening is the truth?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, Mark, when you're ready.
Good evening, thank you. This evening we do have a petition by petitioner Wold Architects and Engineers. Ben Bircher is here representing them on behalf of the property owner, which is the DuPage School District 45, asking for an amendment to their existing plan development under Ordinance 4206 to allow an electronic message display sign at 251 West Jackson. This sign is to be proposed in the location of the former sign that has now been removed and cleared off the site. I do want to point out that the zoning ordinance does specifically allow for the right to make this request for an electronic message display panel as part of a monument sign in the R district because it is a public, civic, or institutional use. If it didn't have that land use, it couldn't even ask for it in this particular district. This request does meet the intent of the code. And in summary, staff does recommend approval of this, especially because Section 8.7 of the zoning ordinance specifies the requirements on how to operate an electronic message display panel sign.
Okay. Thank you. Petitioner, have anything to add at this point? Feel free to come up and state your name and address for the record. And
Yes, my name is Ben Bircher with Wold Architects and Engineers, 220 North Smith Street, Palatine, Illinois. So the intent of the new monument sign being that we've added a second principal building to the property based on the PUD that was established. The previous monument sign out front only identified Jackson Middle School as the one building on the property. So the district has now, with two buildings, wants to update their sign to allow for the naming of both schools to be placed on a singular sign. In addition to, they want to go from upgrading their sign from the static manual letters that changed out to a digital display sign to update, the community for days off, winter breaks, early release days, that sort of stuff. So The goal of the sign is to again identify both schools by name, also display the message board. The district has indicated that they don't want a large or prominent display board, which is why it is the size that it is. It's approximately 10 square feet from the electronic message display itself, which is under the 50% allowable per the village. 50% allowable, sorry, per the village ordinance. So with that, I will close my remarks.
Okay. I'm sure we may have questions, so we'll let the public participation at this point, so
Okay.
you can have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this, or any questions, or? Yeah. Please state your name and address. Thank you.
William Schwartz, 306 West Jackson, right across the street from the sign. A couple questions. How big is the sign actually?
The sign itself is 4 feet by 8 feet. It's 32 square feet. The electronic message portion is 10 square feet.
Okay, so you're allowed 32 square feet. Is it two-sided?
Correct.
So you're only allowed 16 per side.
16 per,
Side.
No, it's on the,
32 square feet total, right?
it's on, Mark, do you have the answer to that one?
Yeah, when it's 90 degrees to the road like this and it's not angled or per side.
Per side, so you're allowed 32 total, typically 16.
One on each, so on each side.
And 50% of that would be 8 on each side.
You don't cut it in half, no.
Okay. My main concern is, does it shut off at 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah, our,
Per section 8.7.6, operating hours must be turned off starting at 11 PM.
Because the old sign did not turn off at any time. It was on all night, which lights up our bedroom. I mean, the school lights up our whole house with all the lights that they got. So that was my main concern. And I don't really care about the size of it. It was mostly that, will it turn off at 11 o'clock at night? It's also supposed to dim at sunset, so it's not real bright. So hopefully it'll do that. I know the current sign at the high school never turns off. I don't know why that is true, because there's residents right across the street from that also. That's all I had.
yeah, I appreciate that. I'm not sure about Willowbrook, but that's an enforcement thing, so if it is on,
I've never seen it shut off.
we can have staff.
I mean, they have later events than
Yeah.
Jackson would, which they're allowed to leave it on until the school's officially closed. But usually there's nothing going on after 11 at high school.
Yeah, I have noticed that St. A's and the library here, they are both off.
what in the
So
library?
St. Alexander's and in the library, they're off in the evening, which is good. But somebody should check on the high school on that one.
I've made a note, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Because they have a big one.
Hi, my name is Richard Kumnick. I'm at 939 South Wisconsin, which is on the corner of Jackson and Wisconsin, across from the school.
Can you spell your last name?
Kumnick. Again, have the same concerns about the sign, that they keep adding sort of things unannounced, and it would be nice to see a picture of the sign, a sketch. I would think the architect has it, because the base is already in the ground. So, is there a drawing of it?
Yeah, there is, and I don't know if we can present that, but you guys want to take a look at my copy here? That's fine. There's an extra here, Mark. There's one right here. You could take that back to your seat if you want.
You got it.
Yep.
That was submitted as part of the application, it's been part of the packet.
Thank you. All right, anyone else from the public wanting to speak or questions? Okay, thank you. All right, questions from the commission?
What is the, what's the color of the aluminum portions of the sign?
So the upper portion of the sign for Jackson Middle School would be the maroon school color. The lower portion for the early childhood center would be a green as their school color.
That's that band that's the lettering that they're on, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Got
And then there is a side panel that would have the school mascot on there. So it's a jaguar and a caterpillar.
Yeah. And the overall frame, this has a thickness, I'm assuming, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's an aluminum framed
Oh.
body for the sign.
Got it.
Who is here representing the school?
What's your name?
Jeff Egan, E-A-G-A-N.
Okay.
Assistant Superintendent of Finance.
Thank
You're
you.
who?
Assistant Superintendent of Finance.
Have you reviewed section 8.7.6 of the code?
I personally not.
Mark,
Yes.
would you make sure that the residents as well as the petitioner can find this section of the code, 8.7.6, so they can follow the rules?
Sure, absolutely. And just to clarify, that is referring to operating hours. All electronic message display panels within 100 feet of any R zoning district must be turned off between the hours of 11 PM and 7 AM unless the business is open and operating during such hours, in which case the sign may be operated only during the hours of business operation.
We do have additional guidelines regarding the type of messages as far as
Yeah.
they need to be static, so no live video. That can all be found in the code. And then the question I was going to ask is, it's not in the package, but since it's code, I assume this will be equipped with appropriate dimmers,
Correct.
because that is, okay.
Correct.
Thank
We
you.
wouldn't issue the building permit to do it without that.
That's what I assumed. I just wanted that on the record. Thank you.
Understood?
I'll just add that I think our packet's a little light on information because I have no information on the electronic portions of the sign at all. And most public hearings that we have in regards to electronic signs, we do get the information as far as a little more colored diagrams and the information of what type of sign it is, what features it has, how it's controlled, and such not like that. And it's not in this packet.
I agree. In the past, we've also gotten the 8.7.6 section of the code written out as well as part of the packet.
Given that, is the display a color display? Is it?
It is a color display. We do have product information on the sign that we'd be happy to submit or to share with you all. If that's the preference.
And how is it controlled? Is it just radio signal?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So no additional underground wiring has to go in for it. It's all electronic communication back to the elementary center.
Okay. The reason I ask full disclosure, I'm a neighbor of Mr. Schwartz here. In fact, I'm more direct in front of the sign than even he is. And I don't have a problem with the digital display. I think it's the natural evolution of the old, slotted message sign. But that is my concern is when it inevitably does stay on late, mistakes happen. When you try to contact somebody, it becomes a finger pointing of, I don't know how to control it. Who controls it? Who does this? So to know that, so is it your company that controls it? Is it the school district that controls it? So for when we have to make that call, who is the person that flips that switch?
The school district will be in charge of operating that sign.
Okay.
Then to clarify, because we don't have, oh yeah, never mind, I do have a site plan. I totally missed that earlier. That's essentially the exact same location and configuration relative to the street.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's making use of the existing power conduit that ran out to the existing sign.
Good, good. And then the other thing that we would normally ask for in these is a landscape bed around the base, but I see that in your plan, so there's no need to ask for that. Any other questions? All right, any closing comments, petitioner, or are you set? Set. Okay, thank you. Discussion by the commission members. Is there any discussion?
Not really.
And if not,
As long as the
then-
hours, I mean, it's beyond the scope of what here, but as long as the hours are adhered to, that's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah, generally that's my biggest concern with these in residential areas is whether or not they're adhering to the guidelines that we have in the code.
Yeah.
And I think most do. And Willowbrook has a big one, so they're, I think, even need to be a little bit higher standard in that regard. Still fewer houses. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to recommend approval of PZ 220013 for an amendment for a special use for a planned unit development per ordinance 4206 to allow an electronic message display panel with the following condition. A, the electronic message display panel shall be in substantial compliance with the monument sign elevation and landscape plan dated October 25th, 2021 by World Architects and Engineers. Should that be 21 or 22?
It's dated 21.
It is 20. Okay.
All right, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion second. Any questions or comments on the motion? All right, roll call vote. Calvert,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Ludke,
Yes.
Orlowski,
No.
Romano,
Yes.
Schlinsky.
Yes.
I too vote yes. With that, our recommendation will pass the village board. They can accept, reject, or modify as they see fit. And we will close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone wishing to speak on non-agenda items this evening?
I have just a question.
Okay.
What's the status of the construction by the train station? Seems like we're at a cutoff for work for the last 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know the status of that. I know that the parking lot, the village, will become the village-owned parking lot on the east side was pretty much wrapped up. Beyond that, I don't know. That would probably be better for Public Works. I think Michael Guerrero would have a good handle on what the engineering with that is. So that's probably more village board or Michael Guerrero. 'Cause we don't get like daily updates on that kind of stuff, unfortunately.
The other question, probably about the same thing with the school. Has boxes at the back of the building, shipping containers,
Okay.
3 or 4.
What is that? What is
Shipping
it in the
containers?
building?
The school, shipping containers at the back of the school.
Are those allowed?
If they're part of a construction permit, yes. If not, then they would need to be in contact with the village.
Okay, I think they're the school districts,
Okay.
but I mean, are they allowed?
Not without a permit, if they're not part of the construction permit.
Okay.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you-
Jeff Egan, School District 45. Those were filled with furniture during COVID. Now that that is done and we've swapped out our furniture, those should be gone in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, thank you. If it's gonna be longer than that, then reach out to Public Works, because they should be permitted.
Okay.
We have a process for that, thanks.
Thank you.
One more.
Yep.
The building has a great deal of exterior lighting, the existing shacks. especially in that courtyard area facing Jackson Street. It's on continuously, dusk to dawn. I believe the electrical code says exterior lighting should not go beyond the property line of any building.
That would be true unless that lighting predates that code, which is possible because that's a fairly new code. But if it's a
The lighting on the building was a different type until a few years
Okay.
ago when they changed it to LEDs. Right now, there's two lights that shine down Wisconsin. If you come from the north to the the north to the south, you can see them 2 blocks away.
Okay.
They're shining right in your eyes, basically.
So I would say you have a representative from the school here. You could express that concern, and if it's not resolvable, then that's something that staff can look into, especially if it's creating like distractions coming down the street, things like that.
There's enough lighting in I'll call it the courtyard play area, sort of there. You could play a baseball game there right now. I mean, it's bright, and they just replaced the lights.
Okay, yeah.
About a week or so ago.
Is Wilson still there? Is your
Okay, so-
engineer? No. No, okay. Yeah, I've had call and complaint too, because sometimes it's so bright, it lights up my backyard. There's 2 floodlights that light up the drop-off area that should be pointing down, and they don't. They point across the street. They're not supposed to have light leaving the property line. There's 2 wall packs that he's talking about that have been there for years, and they create quite a bit of glare. The ones that are on the top of the building have been tipped down, but it seems like every time the lights burn out or there's something adjusted, electricians tip them back up. The new lights that went in for the new school, those lights, you don't even notice them because they're new, they're shielded, they just light down a little.
Yeah.
But like Rich is saying, at the drop-off where it used to be the bus drop-off, that whole area is extremely well lit and doesn't need to be lit like that at all. And for a while there, the 2 floodlights that I was talking about were burnt out. Well, now they're back on because they replaced them.
Could you state your name one more time?
William Schwartz,
SCHWARTZ?
no T.
Oh, thanks.
All right. So, I mean, I'd say the first line of action is to contact the school. If you don't get a response, then we do have ordinances, but we up here don't enforce that. That's done by community development, and we have, on occasion, had to send them out. They don't usually like it because they have to work later, but because they have to go out when it's dark. This time of year, it's not that hard. But in the summer, go out with a light meter and make sure that things are in compliance where they should be. So thanks for bringing those to our attention. Thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, so other business.
Just have one item. Staff is interested in hearing the commission's opinion about starting the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings at 7, starting in 2023 instead of 7:30. Looking for a discussion and maybe a straw poll. It is an ordinance that we would have to amend, so that would take a little time, which is why I'm asking in November. But up to you guys.
I have mixed feelings about it because personally, I like to get out of here earlier, but I also commute from downtown. So I'll go with whatever everybody wants.
I like 7:30. It gives me plenty of time to get here from work as well. Even though most of the time I work from home, but nonetheless, 7:30 does give me that extra time when I need it.
It doesn't matter to me.
I'm fine with either.
On the second Thursdays when I am running around, I concur that 7:30 is more feasible for me from a working aspect.
I'll go with the people that work. Well, no, I know, and the only reason that I'll say that is I just talked to one of the commissioners and he had to skate out. He's a coach and he had to leave coaching early just to get here at 7:30. So I'm kind of, I'm swaying with that. I mean, it doesn't matter for me.
I mean, you would have said 5 if it was.
Right after lunch.
Why not make it a lunch meeting? On that topic, do you know at this point if there's our agenda items for next month?
As of now, we do not have any agenda
Okay.
items for December.
I have 2 conflicts other than this on that evening. So if we do, we may want to look at a special meeting.
I'm not seeing any need for December at this point.
Okay, that would be convenient.
Yeah.
If it starts looking that way, let me know. We can discuss a potential alternate date.
It will most likely be canceled without it'll just go to January. Most
Sounds
likely.
good.
Yeah. I'm seeing 7:30, so thank you. Asked and answered.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Get out of here early? All right. Oh, one quick thing. To anybody that didn't hear, we put out an RFP for comprehensive plan update.
Heard about it. Excited.
So, I don't.
What?
RFP, request for proposal on the comprehensive plan update.
We have received 5 inquiries from qualified firms so far.
Okay. And what's the deadline for that?
November 23rd.
Okay. Still a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.